my sight, in my estimation, no distinguishable difference in the brand names or the recognition, anything like that in regards to elite versus good levels. So since Miami would own the tiebreaker in winning by 17 points, did you give any type of feedback or hear anything that was stated in public in regards to why the Sun Bowl made its decision?
Nope.
Okay.
And I didn't check for it because it's not like, in 2000 when they put the BCS had Florida State in the championship game instead of Miami, even though Miami beat Florida State that year and both teams had one loss. That was a thing, like, afterwards I was going to be checking about, like, wait, hold on. I need you to explain to me because we beat them and this is for a championship potentially.
Sure.
This, no, didn't care. It did come out, when the bowls were kind of getting leaked because, they like to do that. They like to tell, leak them out a little bit and say, okay, this is what we're doing or this is where we're looking. And, the reporters started coming out there and saying, okay, this team here, this team there, whatever. It did come out that, the Sun Bowl was picking Florida State. And yeah, it makes sense. And actually, as I look at it, is that right? Hold on. I downloaded this picture. I need to open it up because I can't enlarge it from darn Twitter. Enhance. Sorry, I'm being a nerd. The Sun Bowl is actually above they're on a different tier.
I would think that the Sun Bowl is ahead of the Independence Bowl.
Yeah, no, that's on a different tier completely. So, so the selection happened before because the Belk, the Sun, and the Pinstripe and the Tax Slayer are all on that same tier 1 with equal weight. But they go through, round robin at that level. So Florida State was selected in a tier above even where Miami was. So it's even a little bit more egregious because I thought it was just as they went down the pecking order on the lower level, they picked Florida State before Miami. No. This is like overall, we picked Florida State in a different classification before Miami even came up in conversation. It just reinforces the fact that Miami tanked this season. It's just the subpar performance. Just this is another footnote along that path, or in that book, I should say. But yeah, man, it's not a thing that I really checked on because I have eyes in my head and a brain that works, and I saw this Miami team this year, so I cannot really, unless you're talking about the head-to-head matchup being the determining factor. It's 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, honestly and truly. And Miami was there more recently. It's not a great location. El Paso, Texas, like I said, one of the worst places I've ever been in my life. So you go with the team who's been there less recently to try to make it more of a draw, maybe, or something like that.
Was this your analysis of El Paso, Texas? Is this have anything to do with anything other than the weather?
It was just a miserable experience. It's just not. It's just bad. It was just bad at elevation. So the air, the weather. It was just. It was wet and raining. It was on my 8th grade class trip. So we drove from Detroit to the Grand Canyon and then Southwestern America and back. So I saw a lot of America on that trip. It was an awesome 2-week trip. If you can do something like that, honestly, like God willing that I have kids, I want to do something similar with my children and just, you see the interstates go from the middle of nowhere to inner city to the middle of nowhere and things like that. Yeah. So Grand Canyon, Albuquerque, New Mexico, that's a weird town, bro. Wow. If you watch Breaking Bad and you see the way that it's shot with that green kind of hue and it just has that kind of off kilter set, that's Albuquerque in real life. It's weird. But El Paso was on that same trip and it was just, it was disgusting. There were some places that were not necessarily cosmopolitan that I'd been to on that trip and otherwise. Yeah, El Paso was pretty terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
El Paso. It sounds a little romantic in some ways.
It's in the middle of nowhere too. You gotta shout out to Yayo, my friend, Sandra. but she went to the bowl game out there when we were in the Sun Bowl. And I forget where she had to fly into and drive like 6 hours because there's nothing by there. Like you got to, yeah, it was, no thank you. Once is more than enough for me in El Paso, Texas.
Although we're talking about Shreveport.
Right. No. But you asked me about El Paso because I brought it up because of the Sun Bowl out there. But Shreveport is not a draw for the day after Christmas either. That means you're spending Christmas in Shreveport, Louisiana. No. Although I did see somebody, a journalist, Manny Navarro from The Athletic, said, excuse me, fly into Dallas, do Christmas in Dallas, and then drive over to Shreveport the day after if you wanted to do something like that. But my family is going to be here, the family that lives in Dallas, for Christmas, so I will not be making that trek.